Ahoy, me hearties! How's it going? What you gonna do today? Well, we're going to be talking. I'm Laz.
And I'm Cody.
And this isn't across the pond, but across
The
other
pond.
Pond.
The show where we dip our toes in the water of all sorts of fun things to talk about. Yep,
Okay.
That was a great opener. Good job,
Well,
Cody.
it did remind me of something though. Like, have you ever done like the little like dip your toes in the water and let fishes like eat your dead skin?
I have not ever actually done that, but I've thought about it before.
Mm-hmm.
Usually
They
when I
have
dip my
those-
toes like in the river or anything, the fish all swim away.
Well, I mean, like, there's in China, there's actually places where you, like they're everywhere, like,
Really?
in the touristy places at least. Like, it's like these, they have like fish tanks that you put your feet in, and then there's a whole bunch of these fish that like to eat dead skin. So they just like come over and they just like.
I've heard it
do their
feels like
little
it tickles
fishing.
almost.
It tickles at first, and you're like, ooh, but then you like get used to it, and then it's just like, whatever.
Yeah, it's something
like,
that
you
I would
get-
totally do if I was just hanging out somewhere.
Oh yeah, it's interesting, and it doesn't cost that much when you're over in China and whatnot. Like, I would highly recommend it. It was fun. But yeah, so what are we talking about today, Cody? I forgot what we were talking about today. You tell the audience right now what we're talking about today, or else. No, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. Don't. What are we talking
We are
about?
talking about locations that we've been to that we really like. We're going to drop 3 of those, and then we're going to talk at the end about places we want to go. So this is going to be a little bit of a travelogue episode.
Yep. I've done a little bit of traveling. Cody
I've done a
has
little
been
bit of
in a lot of places. Yeah. So, you want to start with where we have been?
Yeah,
And
let's
then
start
go
with the places we have been, and then towards the end, we'll
Mm-hmm.
bring up, because we probably know less about the places we want to go. Or maybe we want to know more. Who knows? We'll find out together.
So 3, 2, 1. That's where we're gonna go from the worst. From
Sure.
Well,
we'll go
not
from our
worse.
from our number 3 to our number 1. We'll count down. We'll do a countdown.
Okay. Why don't you go first?
All right. Number 3. I put down the Australia Zoo in Queensland, Australia as as my top 3, or as my number 3, which for those that don't know, the Australia Zoo, the whole thing is the zoo that was owned by Steve Irwin. And it's a really interesting place in Australia to go because it's probably the most unique zoo I've ever been to. They're very open with their animals and stuff. They would just walk dingoes and not wolverines, Tasmanian devils around the park, and you can interact with them in that way. That was super unique to me. But I went with my dad in like the mid 2000s, so Steve Irwin hadn't died yet, but he wasn't there, unfortunately. But I did get to meet some of the people that have worked with him, and it was really just a cool experience to go.
Well, like you said, it was the zoo where Steve Irwin worked at.
Yeah, it was his zoo.
Oh, dude, that's amazing. Do they have stingrays?
Yeah, I think they did actually, but they
Did
all
they
wear
have
those khakis.
Did they have
didn't.
stingrays after? That's what I wonder.
I would bet they still do. I don't think he ever held the stingray accountable for killing him.
Like, yeah, probably. I was just making a dark joke, but like, I don't. Well, like, so I guess dingoes can be tamed.
Yeah, they're just
then?
dogs, basically. If you keep them fed,
Really?
they're not going to go ballistic. They're just wild dogs. So walking them around the park keeps them pretty socialized. Basically, do you remember the dog that my parents used to have, Ginger? They looked exactly like her, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's insanely uncanny.
Huh. So it's just wild. It's just like a house dog, just in the wild.
Yep.
Really. Yeah. Like,
And
I
they'll
always
eat
just
anything.
really like. What do you mean by
That's what
that?
I've heard. I mean, they'll eat like washed up sharks and stuff in Australia.
Oh, really?
Or there's an old
blue-ringed
story that a
octopus.
dingo ate somebody's baby. That's like a viral thing in Australia.
Yeah, isn't that like I hear that? Yeah, I've heard that. Like growing up, I just thought it was like one of those like stereotypes that people thought were funny.
I'm actually not sure if it's real, but it is definitely something I heard pretty consistently. People either like quote that like a dingo ate my baby, or they'll say that watch out for dingoes or drop bears.
How about the mongooses? Like, wait, you said no, Tasmanian devils.
Yeah, Tasmanian devils. They're these little like they look like wolverines. I keep thinking wolverines when I see them, but they're just little like bears basically. And those, I think, they're like, don't touch these. We walk them around, but don't put your hand near them.
Yeah, like I thought they were like they were pretty dangerous. So, oh wow, yeah. Well, that looks weird. It looks like just like a big rat.
Yeah, they're weird animals, and that's one of the like different. At least the way that I remember it was they were very open about, even though it's a dangerous animal, they were like, we walk it around to keep it socialized in a sense. Just don't touch it. You can take a picture with it, but let the handler deal with any kind of animal touching.
Wait, could you pet the dingoes, though?
I did get to pet the dingo. That was basically just a tame dog.
Okay.
I have a picture with it somewhere.
Well, then why do they call them dingoes, then?
Because they're wild. Like, they are wild dogs. But they like, if you socialize them, they are just dogs. But they're... Okay. They roam around the outback as, like,
okay, what if I take a chihuahua and I'm put into the wild? Is it now a dingo?
No, it is not. It is a specific type of dog.
Okay, so it's just a wild chihuahua then?
Yes, if you put a chihuahua in the wild, it would just be a wild chihuahua.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out how the dingo thing works. But, like, I don't know. Like, I really like zoos, and especially the zoos that do really well. Like, the St. Louis Zoo, I really enjoy, and I like what they do there too. You know,
a lot of conservation work. I like to keep up on that.
Yeah, I still to this day, like, one of my favorite places to go, like for my birthday, that was like, we're gonna go to the zoo.
Nice.
You know, and man, I love the zoo. But okay, so any more to add about the, what is it, Queensland Zoo, you said?
Yep, it's in Queensland, Australia, which is like the northeast part of Australia.
Isn't it like the middle?
Yeah, it's like a big middle section, and then up to the north. It's actually where the Great Barrier Reef is located as well.
Oh, okay.
But that's on the coast. I didn't get to see that. I don't think. I don't remember. It's been a long bit, but I just remember it being a very nice place to go.
Yeah. I mean, like, Australia, I forget how big Australia is.
It's massive. It's the size of the United States.
Is it?
Yeah. If you put Australia, the continent, over the map of the United States, it's basically the same size.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yep.
I thought it was like a little bit smaller, but wow. Okay. Cool. Let me see. So my number 3, that would probably be, I mean, I've pretty much only been to like 3 countries in the world. I've been to like China, I've been to Thailand, and of course I grew up in America. And let's see. I would put the beaches in Phuket as number 3.
Okay.
Like, I really liked the beaches over there. They're like these, they're like, because the thing is, you never know what people are talking about when they say golden sand until you go to like Phuket, because the sand there is actually this real nice, like, I mean, it's not like actual gold, but like it's like this just really rich, like golden brown color. Not like the kind of like playground sand that you see like in some of the beaches at, like, you know, Florida or whatnot. Like, I'm completely desensitized to Florida beaches because I went there all the time when I was a kid. But like the beaches in like Phuket were just amazing. It was like the water was like this this aqua color, and the sand this golden color, and there was like these big old rocks that kind of came out at different places in the sand. And especially like the day that I went to, I forgot what beach it was, but like I went over to that beach. My host parents invited me to a dinner for a wedding for one of their nieces or something. And like they were renting out a hotel room, and I was like, I kind of want to take a nap. Is there some place quiet there I can take a nap? And they're like, yeah, just come into our place that we're renting. I went in there, and it was like this little hut, like overlooking the ocean.
Oh man,
and
that sounds awesome.
It was so incredibly beautiful. It was just like this little ottoman, like couch little thing, kind of like the kind of like slightly leaning back couch that they put you on when you're like talking to a shrink. And I was just like there, like listening to the waves, like quiet, like in the middle of Thailand, and just like the sunset coming down slowly. Oh my God, it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life.
Like a picturesque scene for sure.
Oh yeah, it was really nice. But I mean, Phuket in general it's a different world. Like I really enjoyed like old Phuket and going around like the village and whatnot. To be honest, I didn't go around a lot of places that I should have, and I didn't do as much exploring, but it was nice. Phuket was nice.
That's awesome.
I wish I would have known the language a little more.
Yeah, I think one of the greatest finds when traveling to places that have beaches and stuff is finding a really non-touristy beach that has like maybe one or two other people on it, and just being able to just relax with nobody around. It's unlike any other thing, honestly, just being by the ocean with nobody else around, because like going to Hawaii and stuff, like Waikiki beaches and stuff, it's nonstop people, noise, seagulls and stuff, because there's food around. If you go to the touristy beaches, there's just so much. It's overbearing, honestly, and you just kind of get your own little beach area and just have to hide and hope that nobody harasses you. But when you find those non-touristy beaches, like the one you're talking about, just these nice quiet areas and just listen to the waves, unlike anything I've ever experienced.
Yeah, it's like quiet places in general, like especially in China, are very, very special. Yeah. So what's your number 2, man?
My number 2, speaking of Hawaii, is actually, it's a really famous Buddhist temple in Hawaii. It's called the Byodo-in Temple. It's just this incredibly picturesque Buddhist temple with a massive Buddha statue. It's got like a 9-foot Buddha statue. I think it's the largest Buddha statue outside of like Japan or India that was constructed anywhere. The entire temple, of course, has like no nails in the structure, so architecturally it's really cool to see. Is this beautiful dark wood. It's situated in Hawaii in like the valleys between, it's on Oahu, so it's on that like main island, but it's situated in the valleys between the volcano, basically. So it's like hidden in this foresty area, it feels like, when you drive to it. And there's this beautiful backdrop of the volcano up with all the lush greenery around it. And it's just really, really cool. The landscape is, it reminds me of Japan, but it's situated in Hawaii. It's just gorgeous. They have these massive, I mean, absolutely huge carp in the lake that they have there, because people love to feed the carp there. And I think carps live a really long time, and they get really big and fat. There's like 500 of these carp fish that whenever you walk across the bridges, you'll see them begging for food, basically. And they just ran. It's a fish frenzy. It's so crazy to see. But the Buddha statue there is really cool. And it's just a really calming place. Whenever I would go, we always took anybody who came to visit us. That was like one of our stops, was this Byodo-in temple. And it really just drove home the sense of like calm that you can get from a meditation hall. Like, just as soon as you walk into it, it's just like, I don't feel worries. I just am in the presence of this giant Buddha. And it felt great. I love it. I really, it's one of the places that if I go back to Hawaii, it's right on my list of like the first couple days that I'm there to take a stop in.
Oh yeah, man. Like, let's see. I've been to a lot of Buddhist temples myself, being in China and whatnot, but they've never really been like, they've never felt like real, I'll have to say. Because like a lot of the structures and temples and stuff in China feel like they've been just like made right on the spot kind of thing, and that they're like super modern and just like, I don't know, it just, because like a lot of the buildings and stuff in China, like a lot of the rocks and stuff that rock formations that you see in like gardens and whatnot, just look like they're literally called Jia Shan, which means fake mountain. It's just like, what they do is they just like take like rebar and like put it into different structures, and then they just like smear concrete all over it and then just make it into a structure. It's kind of annoying.
That sounds really cost efficient.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what they want, but like you can tell it's very fake, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I just don't like that. Like, all the Buddhist temples are like that in China. I wish there was more that would be, oh my God, this is absolutely beautiful.
Right?
I just looked at the...
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll put a link to this temple in the description for the listeners, by the way.
Yeah. Dude, like, you're making me realize I haven't been to a lot of places, actually. Like, at least like a lot of interesting or famous or anything. Well, I mean, I don't know.
It's interesting to think about, because I went to a lot of these places when I was younger, so my memories of them are very hazy most of the time. So I would love to go back when I'm older to actually like crystallize the memory, whereas you got to experience it as an adult, basically going to like Xiamen and Phuket and stuff. So you have a lot more like newer memories would be what I'd say. So that you have a little bit more vivid than I do. Mine are just basically feelings. Like the Australia Zoo, I don't remember much of, honestly, outside of like, I went with my dad. It was a good time. There were dingoes and Tasmanian devils. But this temple, I do have like a lot of memories, because we actually had a friend who was killed in a motorcycle accident, and he was a Buddhist. So I actually got to go to a funeral ceremony at this temple, and that was something that was very poignant, I would say. It's very relaxed compared to like other funerals that I've been to, where there's usually like speeches and stuff. This one was basically just, they do some incense, you come in, have a quiet moment with like the cremated remains, and then that's it. There isn't like a big show or anything of the burial or anything like that. It was just very, we're going to have a quiet moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's Buddhism and both Taoism kind of have that kind of thing. Like it almost, well, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, that's another thing to talk about some other time. But let's see. Well, anything else to say about
number two.
The Byodo Inn?
I remember one time I went to this temple. There's a lot of wildlife there, like large birds and stuff.
Oh,
I think Laz might have backed down on this one. I think we might have lost him. He's frozen. Are we coming back?
Are you there? Coming in?
Are you back?
Are you there?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we're back.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else to say about the Byodo Inn?
I was gonna say, right as you froze, I was like, before you get to your number two. So here it is. There's a lot of wildlife there as well. These large swans and stuff. And I remember I was at the gift shop that's a little off of this picture, and I was talking to one of the guys that works there, and he was like, "Don't trust any of those birds." I'm looking out at him. He's like, "I saw that swan over there, straight up eat a full sparrow."
Oh.
Just they were at the side of the thing, and he was like, somebody threw some food out, a sparrow swooped in on that swan's prey, and it just picked up the whole bird and ate it.
Oh, Yeah, big birds eat small birds, man. Like I saw a video of what is it? What is the pelican eating like an entire seagull? And it's like the most horrible thing ever because like he uses that his like weird like turkey bill,
yeah,
his gullet to like suffocate it over and over again. Like he's just like doing this like up and down motion and just like suffocating it. I'm like, oh my god.
Bird attacks are absolutely brutal.
Birds just don't care. Like they're like, hey, I know you're also a bird, but you can be food if I wanted it to. You know.
Yeah, but that's one of my other vivid memories of this place.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's see. My number 2. I'm kind of thinking like, I suppose I would say, Huashan in Shanxi. It's like next to Xi'an in China. Like, so like when I went to Xi'an, I went to see the terracotta soldiers, and I don't know. It was kind of boring to me. It was just like, I saw them and they're like, okay. And then, yeah, I'm more of a nature guy. I like nature. So like there's a mountain that's very famous in China. And it's also known as the most dangerous mountain maybe in the world. Well, I mean, Everest, but like the most dangerous mountain in China probably. And it's really close to Xi'an where the terracotta soldiers are. But like, with the day we went there, I remember it was like kind of foggy, and like it was like really hot at the base of the mountain, but we would go slowly up. We took like a cable car, and then from whatever the middle of the mountain, we started going towards the peak, and it would get colder and colder, and we would have to start putting things on. And it was like getting colder and colder and colder. And then once we got to the top, it was snowing.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Like you get closer to the top and there's these places where like, for instance, like it's only a foot wide. And then the only thing on the side to keep you in is like one chain.
Oh, God.
Like, yeah, and I got a picture of, like, my teacher was like, hey, Laz, take a picture. And I'm like, okay. And I was just, like, pressed against the rock wall, and I was just pointing at it. I was, like, nervously smiling. It's like, yeah, that was scary as hell. But then there is another part where it was literally, like, 2 chains on the side, and it was, like, an incline of, like, a single degree going straight up for, like, about 20 or 30 feet.
Whew, that sounds like a hell of a hike.
And what you would do, you didn't have any like strap in or anything. You just take both hands and just go up, like holding the chains on the side, you know? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but then once you get to the peak, that's where some of the interesting stuff happened. First of all, I found Garfield up there. He was just like chilling. I was just like the snowy place. I was just like, I was just like waiting for cause I was going just like, what is the word? I'm flashing it up the mountain. I was just like going booking it up the mountain.
Possible. Yeah.
Like I was more physically fit than other people, I suppose. I don't know. But like, yeah, I was just waiting for everyone to catch up, and I just was building like a little snowman on top of this little table, and then all of a sudden I just hear a meow, and I turn around and there's Garfield right there. He's like a fat orange tabby. And then I open up my bag and I take out some beef jerky and I feed it to it. And then some girl just that I don't know just came up to me and is like, "Don't feed him that." And I'm like, it's like it's beef jerky. And it's like, oh, I thought you were feeding him chocolate. I'm like, no. But yeah, like, and then the other thing that was really funny on top of the mountain, but I mean, like, first of all, like, it's just so picturesque there, man. Like, it really, it's the only mountain that I have ever felt like it really was a mountain. Like the mountains that I've been to. Because, like, it actually is tall.
Like, was it above the clouds?
Like, Well, I mean, like everything was foggy that day, so I didn't.
Oh well, yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think it was above the clouds, but it was snowing. It was hot at the bottom and snowing, at the top.
Yeah, that's how you know.
So it was high enough, But like and then there was these like weird trees that were like that looked upside down.
Oh.
Like they were like their branches were like growing in this way. Like I don't know. It was
I think
really
I've seen pictures
strange,
of that.
like pine trees and whatnot. But yeah, like the other interesting thing that was up there was like I remember I had to go to the bathroom, like, oh shit, I'm on top of a mountain. Where do I go to the bathroom? And so like I just went into like this little restaurant / pub things, and then like I just saw a table of like these big burly Chinese guys, like Northerners. Like Northerners are big, And like I went up to them, it's like, hey, is there a bathroom here? And then they're like, and he's like, yeah, over out there. And I'm like, okay. And I went out there. It was like this little hut, this little shack. I walk in, it's literally a hole in the ground. Like literally just a big like hole about 5 feet in diameter, And I looked on the wall, there's like this half janky like urinal that's not connected to anything. And it's like it's just dripping on the floor, when you pee into it. And then I'm just like, I guess I'm gonna do the hole, and I start to get ready to do my thing, and then this like little skinny ass dude just comes in and just smiles at me, pulls out his pants, and just starts like shitting into the hole. And just like looking at me squatting and smiling, I'm like, oh my god, okay. Like I've never been in that situation anywhere else except maybe at the village where like my wife's village, where the toilets are literally just a concrete hole in the ground, and if someone comes by to try to feed the cows when you're in there, you just cough and they know not to go over.
That's so insane.
But like Huashan, I really like that. That was the only mountain that felt really like a mountain, and was just one of the more breathtaking nature scenes that I've seen. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So what's your number one place you've been to?
My number one place is actually 2 cities. It's the Kyoto and Osaka area in Japan.
Oh.
They're really close together pretty much, but they could not be more different cities. It's such a stark contrast that I feel like they go together. If you go to Kyoto, you should take a day trip into Osaka. Anybody who's going to Japan, if you go to Kyoto, which is the old capital, so a lot of people go to Kyoto because it's really like classic Japanese. Like when you think of Japan, you think of like the pagoda temples and the small shops and stuff like that. That is like Kyoto in a nutshell. Is these,
really
like really large pagodas, these beautiful, like they have I think it's the golden roofed castle and the silver roofed castle, and they're 2 separate old samurai castles that are gorgeous, absolutely wonderful to see. And then you have Osaka, which is basically New York in Japan. So it's just this it's this concrete jungle, skyscrapers. It's not super large, I don't think, compared to like Tokyo is a way larger city and a lot more variance. But seeing the difference between Kyoto and Osaka is stunning. And so Kyoto, I went with my wife for our honeymoon. And Kyoto, we went to all these old places like the pagoda, that beautiful samurai castle. And I think but we also got to do like kind of the nightlife, which was like you got to see the geisha girls walking around and stuff. Which, don't talk to them if they're going somewhere. They're very busy. Really? Is what we got from the person we were with. And then there are so many hidden shops in Kyoto. Like if you can go down these basically just hallways and open a door and there's a shop or a restaurant in there.
Really?
Our guide was telling us that it's not uncommon for tourists to get to the point, if they're in Kyoto for a couple of days, where they'll open what they assume is a shop, and it's just somebody's house. They'll open the door and there's just a family in there just having dinner or something, because everything is so tight knit over there, basically. But
oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. And a lot of those little restaurants are just great. And the bars are these little there's like the bar, there's a place to stand, and then there's the bartender. And that's like the whole bar. But Osaka, on the other hand, is a just insanely busy, like I can only think that it's what New York must be like at night, because we did like a local food tour basically while we were over there with a wonderful Australian man who was our little tour guide, who he'd lived there for like 10 years or something, and we got this attitude basically where the people that live in Osaka view Kyoto as these kind of like prim and proper Japanese people, whereas Kyoto views Osaka as like the rough like the rough and tumble Japanese. It's but the food there was really amazing, but seeing how many people got drunk on like a weeknight in Osaka was insane to me.
Isn't that where Filthy Frank is from?
It might be. It's a
let me see
massive city.
Because I remember someone talking about his accent in Japanese and saying that it was like the Osaka region, Japan.
It might be. I do believe they have a different dialect, a more gruff dialect. Don't quote me on that. But we went to this takoyaki stand, which was a little restaurant, and the amount of drunk people that would come by, stumble around, order a plate of takoyaki, and then stumble back for more like 20 minutes later. It was such a good time. And we had some, that was where we had like the raw ostrich in this really tiny bar that had like 4 tables.
And that's like my Japanese American friend. Well, I told that to my Japanese American friend, and he's like, they didn't have Japanese food. They were just giving you shit. Like,
I don't know.
Well, I mean, he grew up like around Tokyo his entire life, so I don't know. Maybe
it
might be
sound like a
regional
Tokyo
different
food, but
oh, and so like George Miller, aka Joji, aka Filthy Frank, is from Osaka.
Oh,
actually.
that's cool.
Yeah, he was born in Osaka. Yeah.
So but that's my number one place, is those 2 cities together.
Man, you're making me want to go to Kyoto. I didn't know like the Japan that I always am picturing in my head sounds a lot like Kyoto.
Yeah, it's the original capital of Japan before they moved it to Tokyo, because Tokyo means East Capital.
Yeah. Like, and that's interesting to me, because like there's a Dongjing, which is Tokyo, you know, which is like East Capital, and then there's Beijing, North Capital, and then there's Nanjing, South Capital, but there's no Xijing.
Interesting.
Why is that? There's no like Western Capital. Yeah, I don't know what. Maybe
that's weird.
I feel like I've heard someone say about Rome being the
Western capital.
Yeah,
I mean, they had a pretty broad reach, but I don't know if they reached that far.
No, well, I mean, like there was like what's his name? Like during when King Genghis Khan. No, not like the Yuan dynasty. You had what's his name? Marco Polo went over to China. So they had like
I guess they had knowledge of them then, probably.
Well, like Silk Road and whatnot. Yeah. It went all the way to Italy, right? But yeah, dude, like Japan. Okay, so my number 1. All right, are you ready for this? Are you hanging at the edge of your seat?
I'm ready.
To be honest, I don't think I have a number 1, because I feel like I haven't gone to a lot of really interesting places to really say I haven't. Open? I feel like I need to hold it open, but so I'm going to say I don't have a number 1, but I'll also share one more place that I enjoyed going to very much, even though it felt a little like fake-ish, which was Wuzhen, which is this little water village in Zhejiang. So it's like the province. I think it's in Zhejiang. It's the province right below Shanghai. And it's, yeah, I'll look it up some other time. But like it's just like a whole bunch of these little shops where people are still doing like old timey like artisan stuff. Like you'll see a guy that's like carving an entire village into a tree stump, or an old lady just like taking out silk from like the cocoons of or whatever, like from like separating silk out by hand, you know, and putting it in water and like cleaning it up and whatnot. And then people like using like these giant like what is it, a lathe, right, to make like silk tapestries or whatever.
Okay.
And like there's all these like little buildings and whatnot, and it's like on the water, and like it's just like a really nice place to just like walk around and check out and talk to people. I would go out in the like really early in the morning and just walk about and just talk to people about their like art and whatnot. I don't know. It's a nice place. There's a lot of places like that in China though, like little tucked away villages. You know,
that sounds like a fun thing to experience. Just to find like little villages and just hang out.
Well, that's what I kind of liked a lot. Like, and one of the best trips that I liked it, and this is completely stupid. It's completely stupid that I like this, because like we went to this place like that was about 2.5 hours away from Xiamen, like north of us, and it was supposed to have cherry blossoms. So we took like 4 different buses to get there. And then once we got there, we realized, okay, we're still about 3 miles away from the hotel. We're going to have to take a like motor taxi. So we both got onto the motor taxi, and it was freezing as hell, and it started pouring. And so we got there, and it's this hotel just in the middle of nowhere. It's like a concrete, it's like someone took a box and filled it with concrete in there. It's like, here's hotel, you know? And like it was only like 60 renminbi a night. That's like 10, not even $10, you know? We get in there, one of the nicest hotels. Like it's like, it got this whole big old bathtub, you know, it's a nice hotel when the bed is circular, you know?
Yeah.
And it had like these like velvet kind of so it was just weird that it was such a nice hotel in the middle of nowhere. And like the window by the bed was just like one big glass panel. Like there was like no wall, there was just glass panel, and you can see out over the village, and then it was like overcast and like rainy as hell. And what was really nice about it was just that we were like exhausted from the trip over, because we took like 4 different little cars, you know, and then we took this motor taxi in the middle of freezing rain. Well, not actual freezing rain, just it was really cold and it was raining. But like, and then we just get there. It's super nice. And we weren't expecting it. And then we just order in and we watch Catch Me If You Can. And it was, and then we have like a nice bath. And it's just like, I don't know. It just sits in my head as one of my favorite days.
That sounds so surreal to be like, oh man, we got to stop at this little town. There's going to be a little tiny hotel, and it's just a wonderful hotel. That sounds like somebody would make that up in a story.
Well, you know what was really funny though? Like, the cherry blossoms sucked ass. Like, I think it's because we got there just when they started like falling off.
So you're at the end of the lifespan of them.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So we just kind of went around the village and whatnot, and the village didn't have much to do. We just went to one restaurant and ate like way too much, like, because like village people tend to like be really friendly. So how they show being really friendly is like you order like some chicken, and they just like decide, okay, we'll kill a whole chicken for you and cook it now. And it's like, okay, we didn't know what to do.
I wasn't gonna eat that much, but I guess I will now.
Yeah, but yeah, like I don't know, like they're going around and just like finding random villages. You know, that's what I kind of liked, and that I don't think I ever had the money or time to go to any place that was really famous or whatnot. Like I've always been kind of like a, what do you call it? It's not like a hipster traveler, kind of like, what's that called?
Like a backpacker?
No, there's a tripster, I think that's what it's called, a tripster, where like you go only to places that people don't know about.
Yeah, I think that's a cool thing to do. As much as like the big famous stuff is cool to see, I do think you make better memories in those less touristy locations.
There was some nice places that we went to, like in the north of Xiamen, like at the very border of it, in like just the sticks, you know. Like I remember going to, because the places that are super 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 silent in China are like few and far between. So like when you can take like a taxi through the hills, like the thing is, I remember we got to what is it, not Anhui, Tong'an. It's a part of Xiamen. It's a little more like less developed, and we got there and we still needed to get a bus to get there to this mountain we were going to. And we got there and we just saw like the little three-wheeled, like it's kind of like a tuk-tuk, and I was just like, why not, let's see if this guy will take us to this mountain. And he's like, yeah, sure. So we like took this little, like, it's like an electric bike with like a hood on top of it, and it doesn't go that fast. But we already like agreed to take this guy's tuk-tuk thing, and like it took us like 45 minutes to get there when it could have, like with a regular car, it was probably like 15 minutes. And like and it was so bumpy. It was so fucking bumpy. Like we're going, but it was nice because we got to see all these little villages on the way there. And we get to the mountain, and I remember climbing up to it, and there was a spot where it was like it was a sign that says no tourists behind this point, and but it was evident that everyone just goes
went
by
anyway.
Yeah.
I'm a sign,
we
not a
go
cop.
past there. And it was even, it was, wow, it was so, it still had like rails and stuff, and it looked like people go there all the time. It was really nice. And then there was another sign that says, we will, danger behind this point, like we will not help anybody out at this point. And I was like, okay. And we kept going, and it was just so quiet and so serene. It was like, wow. It was also a really, another really tall mountain, but not, there's so many mountains in China. Everything is mountains in China. So it was like really weird for Fanfan to come over here and be like, wow, so it's flat. Yeah.
It's really flat.
But yeah, like, I mean, like, see, and that's why I think I don't have a lot of places that I can say where I feel like is not really worthy of saying almost. It's just like, because I travel in a way of just like, let's go this way and see what's over there. You know?
Yeah, like our trip down to Arkansas.
Yeah, exactly. Which one of these days I want to go north and try to hit Wisconsin. You know. But anyway, so now let's get into where we want to go.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Top 3 places we want to go.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to start off with this one, or?
You can start on this one.
Okay. To be honest, I've been busy all this last few days, and I haven't really thought about it.
On top of your head, what's the let's cut it since we're already at 45 minutes. What's the number 1 place you want to go?
Tokyo. Not Tokyo. Japan.
Japan?
I really want to go to because and I don't have like a specific city. I think in the future I'd have to actually figure out where I'd want to go. Kyoto sounds really nice though. After you're talking about, and Okinawa sounds really cool too.
I've never been to Okinawa. I don't think I even went on my like high school trip that hit a lot of stops.
I mean, Okinawa is probably going to be just similar to Hawaii anyway, right?
Probably.
So, like,
it's got that big military presence, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's also like, I think the climate's very similar as well. That's what I've heard. But like, yeah, like there's just so many different places in Japan that are just so amazing. Like, and I mean, there's so much of the things that I love are from Japan, you know, like Studio Ghibli, like Nintendo. Like I could go and see like those, like the Studio Ghibli studio, you know, and I could go over and like they have like a little museum and they have like these little cafes like the Kirby Cafe and all this stuff. It's like, man, I just want to go to I want to go to a place like a little shop to get like ramen and like, man, it's just such a fairy tale land to me in my mind's eye, you know? So like, and there's also like a lot of places like Fox Mountain that seems really cool, like where the foxes are just like running about and whatnot.
Yeah.
And some of these Shintoism temples, like the deer temple and whatnot.
Yeah. The one with the deer is really cool, where they're just kind of milling about and they're super polite and stuff. I was there in high school.
Man, I just want to see all of that in Tokyo. I mean, just like the bustling, like one of the most amazing cities in the world, you know?
The size of Tokyo is actually staggering. The way that the districts are all incredibly distinct from each other as well is insane. Because you can like take a train from the middle of Tokyo up to like where they have one of their large Buddhist temples, and it looks like an entirely different city already. And then you go to like Akihabara, where it's the anime central stuff, and you're in another totally different city basically.
Like, is it as wild as people say it is? Because like I feel like
Tokyo was for sure. We'd had to walk a good chunk because we had dinner in a local spot where they served us a full fried fish actually, and our we were eating off of it basically, and our waitress was watching us, and she came over and she asked if we were going to eat the fish bones, because that's something that Western people don't do all the time. But she was like, I love eating the fish bones. It's like part of the meal. Like, I was just
like a random Japanese lady?
Yeah, it was just our waitress. Yeah.
Oh, really? She spoke English?
She came up and did like the half and half basically. Because I can speak a little bit. So we kind of just got through the conversation basically, but she was just like, "Are you going to eat the fish bones?" She was really interested in the fact that we weren't eating the fish bones. But it was really? Just a really cool like sushi fish place. But so we had to walk back to our hotel from there. So we're trying to use Google Maps and stuff, and basically just walking through the city because I was like, I don't want to take another train because our stop wasn't right next to a train station basically. So we were like, the walk is going to be the same distance if we go to take a train this late and get to the stop that's close basically. There were so many people that seemed to have just gotten off work basically that immediately hit the bars. It was like work, bar, and one of the tour guides that we talked to, he was like, yeah, the work life attitude here is you go to work, you take about an hour in the afternoon to go to the bar, and then you go back to work, and then you either go home or you go to the bars again.
Don't they also have like a place like these little like in Chinese they're called 酒居. Jiu or something like that. I forgot what it is, but like it's like alcohol hut. I don't know how to even say. It's like this little place that's usually on the second floor of places. At least in China, they were.
I feel like I think
there's like little bars. Yeah, but it was like more silent like kind of thing. Like I don't know. Those seem cool as well. Like
The bars
nature,
are definitely so different than like the bars in America. Like when I think of a bar in America, I think of just such a loud place. And in Japan,
like
it's just like really just you drink and you talk with your friends.
Oh, I like that. I like
love that.
the more, because like that's the thing that I absolutely completely hate about bars. That I hate bars to like my bones, man. Like it's just like it's the worst environment I can absolutely think of, you know?
I love finding
Drunk
bars
people,
that actually don't have like such a loud environment that just
Yeah.
let people drink in like relative quiet.
yeah, like so I mean, then there's also like places like Hokkaido where with the springs and whatnot. But I mean, there's ozone everywhere in Japan, right? Like,
Onsen
man,
is so cool.
like and then my Japanese American friend said that people like every day at night they take a bath. Like that's like Japanese people's thing is like they take a bath before bed.
Yeah,
because
I've heard,
really calms them down.
I think I've heard that as well. And the bathtubs they had in all of the hotels were wonderful.
Dude, like that it makes me sad because I started getting into, because I like towards, what is it, the end of like, what is it, like February, no, like the beginning of this year, I started taking baths every night. And then I was like, because I start remembering, oh, my Japanese American friend was telling me about that, and I was like, man, I might as well try it, you know? And man, oh my God, it calms you the hell down.
Yeah.
Especially
really
if you use
relaxing.
like Epsom salts and whatnot. It makes you all tingly everywhere, you know? It also lowers your blood pressure by like 20 or 30 points. Like I remember I'm usually around like 110 over like 70 or something like that. And like after I get out of a bath, it's like 85. Like over 60. It's like it's super low. I just feel so zen after a bath. But like over here, it's like we don't have a bath anymore, and I'm kind of sad.
Yeah.
You know?
It's really not a very American lifestyle to take a bath. It's weird.
Oh my God. That's also why I switched to Japanese as my learning language now. Like, I just feel like I don't like Spanish, even though it's my heritage and whatnot, and it's useful. It's just like, I don't see myself like enjoying like reading or anything in Spanish. Like, but with Japanese, it's like, there's like too much stuff to do with it. You know, it's like there's video games I can explore. I can re-explore like the anime and like the movies I watched like as a kid and whatnot, and go to the country. There's so much philosophy, like, you know, like Shintoism and Buddhism and like wabi sabi and like kitsugi, like you know, chato, right? Like there's too much. I just want to like delve into all of that. And like, yeah, just like I don't even know if I need to even say any more on my list. It's just like Japan is like my big, well, oh, okay, wait, there are some other ones. I'm just going to say some other ones, but here, why don't you go for one really quick?
Yeah, so I'm going to drop my number one. The place I want to go, I want to go to New Zealand so bad.
Oh, and see the Hobbit hole?
I do. I want to see where they shot Lord of the Rings. I want to see that whole, all of that tour, whatever it is. I want to go see all that stuff because I absolutely love Lord of the Rings. I love that stuff. But I also want to go to New Zealand because it looks just absolutely gorgeous. It just looks like such a fucking cool island. I want to just roam around the countryside, basically, and see what it looks like. But the Lord of the Rings thing is also like number one on my list there. But because I was so close. We lived in Australia and we just never went to New Zealand. Which,
I mean, like,
when we lived in Australia was when they were filming Lord of the Rings, basically. Because I remember specifically Two Towers coming out while I lived there.
Oh, yeah. Like, and New Zealand is one of those places that feel boring to me in my brain. But then, like, I see landscape from it and it's like, it's nice there.
Yeah, it looks I just love to just take a vacation out there. Just like take a week, just hang out. Because a lot of travel, I think, comes down to people will be like, oh, you got to go do this, this, and this, and this. And I just want to go somewhere that's just like, relax. Don't got to do stuff. Just want to live in the countryside for a week and not deal with anything.
Cool.
Yeah, I wish I did more research on it, but I just want to drop that I'd really want to go see Lord of the Rings.
Just like the place
stuff.
of it.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, I've never actually watched the... well, I've watched the Lord of the Rings movies, but I didn't really pay attention to them.
Oh, they're so good.
Because, like, when I was watching them, quote unquote, it was in middle school when we just learned about instant messaging, and I was talking to a girl.
That'll do that.
That I liked, you know.
I think about once a year I have like a Lord of the Rings day where I watch all the extended editions. That's like a full 12-hour thing. I think about once a year I have that, and then I just recently bought the the collection of Middle-earth history, which is like 3 massive books that collect a bunch of Tolkien's notes together on the history of Middle-earth. Because I'd promised myself if I ever saw it in a bookstore, I'd buy it, because it's not super popular in the sense like you can order it from Amazon and stuff, but I didn't ever expect to see it in a store. And I walked into Books A Million and it was sitting on the shelf, and I was like, well, I did say I was going to buy this if I ever saw it.
Yeah, like, I need to read more of Tolkien. I've only read The Hobbit, and I really liked The Hobbit. It felt like I was reading like the classic fantasy, because it felt
so
like
good. It's gorgeous.
It felt like the start of fantasy when I was reading it. I was like, wow, this is like, I feel like every book that came after this was just like trying to copy this kind of thing.
Have you heard the story of how he really got into writing it down, basically?
What didn't he, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure we talked about it before. He wrote everything, all his like legends and whatnot, because he wanted the languages to make sense.
Yeah.
Right.
But when it comes to The Hobbit was the first one, and he told it as a bedtime story to his kids. And Christopher Tolkien was really, really into it. But since he didn't write it down, he was using it just as like, because he loved oral storytelling, like Beowulf and stuff like that. But he would tell the story and there would be slight differences. And Christopher Tolkien would pick up on those and be like, well, wait a second. You said last time that Bilbo's Hobbit door was yellow, and this time you said it's green. And Tolkien, it's a story that Christopher Tolkien mentions, is that Tolkien got up, walked across the room, scribbled something down, and said, damn the boy. And that's kind of where he got to actually writing it down. And then his peers were like, you need to publish this because it's good. He was like, no, it sucks, dude. I just write because I want that language to be really nice. And they were like, you need to publish it. It's really good.
Well, you know what's funny? Like, I've noticed that with a lot of artists is like the stuff that they hate, including myself, is the stuff that gets popular. Oh yeah. Like, I remember one of the tunes that I really didn't like, that I did on one of my streams before is, what is it? Subterranean Ocean. And that actually ended up being one of my most popular posts. And I'm like, I literally put like I just, part of the song was slowing down, like, what is it? Da 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 ba da 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 da. Oh, Santa Claus is coming to town. I literally just like took Santa Claus was coming to town and I extended it. I just made it longer. There's this part, it's like the third part of it. It's like da 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 da. And I was just so surprised that no one ever is like, you just randomly put.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. But like, yeah, like I've noticed that like a lot of artists, they make stuff and they hate it, and then people are like, I like this, and I'm like, why? You know.
Yeah, it's very hard as artists to tell what people are gonna actually grasp onto.
Mm-hmm. Well, any more about New Zealand?
That's all I've got on New Zealand.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, here's another one of my places. I'm not even going to try to do 1, 2, 3, whatever.
Yeah, this
like,
is
I'm
just
going
where
to
we want to go,
one.
basically, until we want to wrap up.
Iceland.
Ooh, Iceland does sound cool.
Iceland is just like another one of those places that feel like just a fantasy land. Because like there's like especially like the photos that I've been seeing of people like on Reddit recently of just like there's like an erupting volcano right now, and then like everyone and their grandchildren just like goes over like about a half mile away and just like sits there and watches it erupt. You know?
Yeah, because
like,
it's not a very
like,
violent eruption. You just get to see this beautiful orange lava.
Yeah, like it's pretty awesome, and like the blue lagoon and whatnot, and like actually, you know, Bob was stationed there.
Really?
Like yeah, I didn't know that. Like I was telling him like, yeah, I would love to go to Iceland one day, and yeah, he said he was stationed in Reykjavik for a year or two, and like he went to see like the glass like beaches, you know, where the have you ever seen those? Like it's like this ice there that's just like looks like glass, you know, diamond. I think it's called Diamond Beach or something like that. And then like just like what is the other thing that's like the natural saunas? No, not saunas, springs there. Like he said, and he said exactly what people say online. It's like, you just need to, like, everyone in Iceland has their own secret, like, hot spring in the middle of nowhere.
That's awesome. That sounds so cool.
Like he said, they were going, like one of their Icelandic friends just took them to a hot spring one day, like in the middle of nowhere, and there was already girls in there, and then they just took off all their clothes and just jumped in. And they like I don't know, but like I don't know, there's a lot of also like Viking history and stuff there. Like I want to go to Thingvellir, and it's like the first parliament in history kind of
really
thing, you know?
I didn't know that.
Like it's like well, I mean, in European history, I think like it was like 900. It was the place where like people, I think like opposing tribes or something, got together to talk about what they want to do next, you know?
That's awesome. That sounds such a cool thing.
And then like, man, there's just like Iceland just seems like such a peaceful place. And then plus like I want to see the Aurora Borealis there too. Mm-hmm. And just like extending that even to like, you know, like Iceland's like a really big developed place, but you know, like another Arctic area that would be really cool to visit would probably be like what is it called? It's owned by Denmark. It's not Greenland. It's the other the Faroe Islands.
Oh yeah.
The Faroe Islands. They're just kind of in the middle of nowhere also. There's only like 50,000 people there. And they have a lot of the same history. They got Viking history and whatnot, and their language is very close to Icelandic, but they're not like, nobody goes there, you know. And they also have like really amazing like scenes there, you know. And then another place that's really cool for their Arctic is just like, and I wonder if the reason I don't have places that I can just say is that I just know all these places around the world so much, like that it just, I'm like oversaturated with like places that I'd like to go, like Norway.
Yep, Norway's like on my list as well. I want to go back to Norway and get some like crystallize my memories, basically, because I have so few of my time in Norway because I was so young.
Well, like on the east coast of Norway, there's just like amazing, breathtaking like fjords and like the mountains and like little picturesque villages and whatnot. Like I think there's like a place called Berg or something like that. It's like one of the bigger cities or tourist places, I don't know. And then there's also like places in the very, very far north, like what do they call it? The Paris of the Arctic. It's called like Troitsky or something like that. I forgot.
I think Trotsky is what it is. I've
I
heard of
don't
that
know.
name, but I don't know if that's correct.
And I mean, like, Oslo would be nice too. I mean, just Norway would be another place that would be just amazing to go to. Like, the Iceland and Norway, like, I'd love to go to both of them. But yeah, that's another place that I'd like to. Iceland, kind of that place. How about yeah, you got your number 3, I suppose.
Norway was my one there as well, so that kind of pairs in together. My last one I've got, though, is Germany. I want to go to Germany and visit, and like during Oktoberfest or something.
Oh, you want to...
that always seems like a fun time.
Well, you know, the thing is, when people think about Germany, the place they're actually thinking of is Bavaria.
Yeah. But I'm thinking more like
Oktoberfest.
Hamburg.
Mm-hmm. Are you?
Or, what's it fucking called?
Leipzig? Berlin?
Berlin, probably.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I would like to go back to Germany because I've been to, when I was younger, we went to Auschwitz, and we also went to, there was this mine.
Isn't Auschwitz in Poland?
Is it?
I thought it was in Poland. Let's see. Oh.
It might be.
Auschwitz. I don't know. How, is it? Oh, I did spell right. Okay. I can spell German. I mean,
I'd like to see the history of Germany. I like to visit stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was, I don't know what it's called. There's a mine though that I have a bunch of pictures from when I was younger that I'd like to go see again. It's like a salt mine, and I have these really.
It is in Poland.
It is in Poland?
Yep, it's in German. It's Nazi Germany occupied Poland. Mm-hmm. But like, so you have been to Germany before?
Yeah, we went when I was like 4 or 5, I think. I have pictures, but I don't have any memories.
Yeah, I mean, like Bavaria, like you have I think the Alps go through there, and then like then you have like the Lederhosen and whatnot are from there, Alphorns. I mean, like I'd love to go to Bavaria as well, like and I want to go over there and
Switzerland would be
learn
cool
how
too.
to. I mean, the Alps in general, you know, like I want to learn how to yodel and use the Alphorn. Like that's one of my things on my bucket list is go to the Alps and learn how to yodel on top of a mountain.
That'd be a pretty cool event.
Yeah, that's just like one of those little things, you know, one of those little things. I mean, like, is there one of those things like that people want to do in China? Like, I feel like I've probably done.
I mean, people probably say they want to walk along the Great Wall, which I know you've done.
No, I haven't.
Did you not end up going there?
Nope. My parents and my brother have, but like I've never been to the north except for Xi'an, which is where the terracotta soldiers were. But like, yeah, I've never been to Beijing, and I don't really have a lot of interest to go to Beijing. I'm more interested in going to like the west part of China and the south. Because one of the places that I really want to go is Zhangjiajie. That's where they shot like a lot of scenes from Avatar, you know.
Oh, that's cool.
Like the Fingerling Mountains and whatnot. And everyone that has gone there has told me I have to go. Like,
well, that's pretty good endorsement.
And another place is, what is it? Jiuzhaigou. That's another place that's supposed to be absolutely beautiful. But, yeah, Germany. Me and Fanfan have actually thought about like immigrating to Germany one day. That might be kind of cool. Especially that some of the like more well-known yoga teachers live over there as well.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
And it's also fairly easy to immigrate there. It's like you only have to stay there for like 1.5 years and then you can become a citizen. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for Germany?
No, that's all I got.
All right, so let's see, another place that I would really like to go to.
Probably last one, and then we can wrap up.
Let's see. I've talked about Japan. I've talked about
the Arctic.
The Arctic. I mean, I feel like there's like, like one thing I just want to go to is any just super like tropical like paradise place that everyone talks about. Just like for one time.
I mean, the Bahamas are nice. Hawaii is nice.
It doesn't even matter to me. Like the Bahamas, Hawaii. Hawaii actually seems really nice, even though it's like super like like talked about so much. Like it just seems like Hawaii would be super, super nice, and there's a lot of nice hiking places and whatnot.
It's gorgeous.
There.
You can climb all the volcanoes. The Big Island has. I don't know if you can do a hiking trip up to them, but I mean they have like the mountain you mentioned in China. They have a volcano that does get snow on it.
Oh yeah.
Mauna Loa, I think, gets snow on it.
I mean, that like Hawaii would be nice. Fiji, the Maldives, like even like Indonesia.
Awesome.
Like what is it? Or Jamaica would be nice, man. Jamaica. I feel like Jamaica would have the most personality out of everything. But like then there's also Bali would be nice too. In Indonesia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to like see what all the fuss is about, because everyone is like, oh, I want to go on a tropical vacation and whatnot. And it's like, I just need to experience that for myself. Maybe one of the more cheaper places, like there's some places in the Dominican or the Philippines that are tropical and whatnot. I mean, like Phuket was getting close, but I've heard there's better places. Even in Vietnam too. Vietnam is super cheap as well. So one of these days, just a tropical place. Yeah. Like any
I can
kind of
atone that hanging out in 80-degree weather consistently is pretty cool. I do miss the weather.
And just like one other place to tag on, just I mean, there's so many places. Now, I'm not going to tag on because I will be tagging things on forever. Because there's places like African safaris in like Tasmania. Oh, not Tasmania, like Tanzania.
Oh, I thought like, about adding South Africa. South Africa sounds really cool to go to.
Oh, South Africa, like it sounds like it's pretty goddamn dangerous over there.
Yeah.
Like in South Africa, I don't know, but like then. What else? There's just like, I mean, Brazil. I would love to visit Brazil, go to Peru, Chile, then like I mean, go to Machu Picchu. Apparently, that's one of the most extravagant things in the entire world too. I mean, Turkey seems amazing. Any place in the Middle East. To be honest, Venezuela it seems super cool as well. It's just like they're going through an economic crisis. Then like Syria also seems really, really cool, to be honest. It's just like there's also problems there, of course.
Yeah, so many places in the world seem so cool. One of the greatest things in life is to travel, I think. It really just rounds out someone as a person.
Yeah, I mean, like, I
wish America was more travel friendly, because work and stuff is so anti-vacation. Well, I mean,
we got to drive everywhere, you know. I mean, like it's even worse in China, to be honest. Like with vacations, like
I do know that Japan and China both, I think, have that problem where vacation is kind of I wouldn't say a privilege, but like rarer than like European countries are so vacation friendly.
Yeah, like you get a lot of time off, especially Italy. Italians have the most time off of any place in the entire world. You know that? I think they have a 4-day week, and then on top of that, like they only work for like I think 260 days of the year. The other 100 plus days, they just can do whatever they want. That's what I remember seeing. Like, look it up. It's probably not as much as 260. Maybe it might be, but like for some reason, I remember 262 as a number in my head. I mean, there's Italy too, man. Like Greece, any place around the Mediterranean.
About a
northern Italy
business in I think they're situated in the UK, but they're called Pizza Pilgrims, and they did this trek basically where they traveled from the bottom of Italy to the top, and they visited as many pizza places as they could basically to learn how to make pizza really well. And they were like, it was planned to be like a week, and they spent like 6 weeks doing it.
I mean, dude, Italy, like literally, I think Italy might be the most beautiful place on the planet. It's so, like, I started realizing of these last few years, I think especially through Instagram, there's a reason that people like these places and go to these places because they are absolutely breathtaking. Italy, like the north, the south, everything, like
the Tuscan
buildings,
sun.
the landscape. Oh my god, like you go to the north and it's got like these beautiful lakes and the hills and like the mountains. Like it was funny, like one day I was looking through pictures of Italy on Instagram and I recognized a place and I'm like, isn't that from the scene in Star Wars The Clone Wars where Anakin and Padme get married? And I looked it up. It's like, okay, where's that place? And I looked up the picture I was looking at. It's like, where is this? Literally only like 10 miles away from each other.
That's awesome.
Like I was like, oh well, huh. But my god, Italy, so beautiful. I mean, there's like just around the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean is like one of the most beautiful places in the world, man. Like Tanzania too. Like, man, it's crazy. Even Turkey, like there's beaches in Turkey on the Mediterranean that's super beautiful as well. Man, the world. I want to go into it. I just want to be in the world, you know.
In closing, we're very supportive of travel. It sounds like a good time. I do want to do it some more.
Yes, when I get money.
That's the biggest. You know. That's the biggest hurdle.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
at least from here in America, it's hard to get anywhere.
Well, I mean, like
just driving through America.
It'd be nice to go through places in America too. Like, I need to start exploring more around here, but it's just like. Planes are expensive, trains are expensive here. Like in China, at least, like if you want to go from one end of China to the other, it wouldn't cost too much. Like a train ticket from Xiamen to Hubei only costs like 600 renminbi per person. That's like less than $100, you know, and that only takes like 7 hours. You know, it's like a bullet train. I mean, like, that's like taking a train from like here to like California.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Bullet trains are amazing. I love them.
Hopefully one day America will get some.
Yeah, I would love that.
Fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, my knees are hurting from sitting for so long.
Yeah. And we're going to go on an even older form of travel. We're going to hop back on our boat and cross the pond again.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And no oars. No oars.
No oars. We only let the waves take us.
Yes, we go with the flow. Yeah. And then we take it like real. We drink seawater like real men. We hallucinate from dehydration and kidney poisoning like real men. You know?
All right. See everybody later.
Bye.